Welcome to the Trucking Risk and Insurance Podcast. We're back, and we've invited in a repeat guest. We don't know why we've invited him back, but for some reason we have invited him back. It was so much fun having him the first time. We thought we exhausted him and didn't think he'd come back, but he was quick to say yes. So anyway, without further ado, let's welcome Michael Derry to join us here on the Trucking Risk and Insurance Podcast. Hey, Michael, glad to have you back.
Well,
good to be back. And I remember from last time, the things that I have to get out of the way first is, hi, my name is Michael Derry, and I am a senior loss prevention consultant with Intact Insurance. And although I have got authorization from my employer to appear on this program, I must let everybody know that the opinions that come out of this piece right here are my own. So if I say anything you don't agree with, don't go to them, go to Chris Harris.
And welcome back, Mr. Derry.
Thanks, gents.
God, it's been such a while since we had you here before. So wow,
yeah, but you know, it's so much fun. It just seems like minutes ago.
Yeah, I know.
Hours.
It's amazing. Yeah,
maybe a couple of days.
So. Well, that's because Chris and I are very entertaining. You know, we're good people to be around.
Yeah, that you are. That you are.
And today we're talking about safety scores. Is that what you're going to say?
Well, you know, I wanted to say one of the mottos that I've always lived with, and when you guys gave me the option to come up with my own topic, I thought a little something that I've always got in the back of my head, which is you can't manage what you don't measure.
Yep. So true.
So we could go all different types of places with this, but because of who I'm sitting here with, those graybeards, I think, why don't we tie this right into carrier profiles? So we got some good examples between the three of us. I think we can really enlighten the listeners today with that topic.
And sorry, I'm distracted because I just got I got to answer a text. So John, ask him a question.
Are you kidding?
We did a distraction piece here a little bit ago. Chris hasn't learned yet, so thankfully he's not driving down the road. So,
oh, hang on a second. My magic 8-ball just sent me a message.
In truth, what it is, I'm here in this building, and my wife just texted me, there's a leak. And I said, yes, I know. I was just upstairs, and the water's coming in like normal. We lease this building. It's not ours, so.
Oh, from the rain. Yes, it's raining here today.
It's raining today. So,
yeah,
yes, we're talking about safety scores and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah,
today.
Exactly. So I guess what would be the focus when you're looking at, to start off with it, Michael, when you're looking at these safety scores, we've got a number of them that we can work with. So there's the US DOT SMS profile, safety management system, your CSA scores. You've also got whatever province that you're based in, you've got your national safety code, or as in Ontario, your commercial vehicle operating record. What are some of the key areas that you talk about we should be measuring, so that we can manage the control here?
Well, one of the easiest things to do, and I often hear as it being a great place to start, is just the overall score to start with. Be it the CVOR, be it the NSC, be it your SMS, they've all got that one common number that you can use. So if you're going to start anywhere, it's go historically back by month or by quarter, whatever set time frame you want, and take those numbers down and just record them somewhere. If you're just starting today, great, start today. Just for simplicity, if we look at, let's just look at the overall violation rate with a CVOR, sure. Okay? Yep. So if the number is 25 today, you put down that your score for October is 25. Your score for October 2021 is 25. You got to start somewhere. Keep recording those numbers so you can tie it into, are we improving or are we not? You got to look behind you. You look at your historical records to see if you're getting better or not. But the whole idea with you can't manage what you don't measure is you make all these changes, you make policy changes, you bring on different drivers, or you open a different division to the company, or you make some equipment changes. If your profile scores go up or down, if you're not recording them, you don't know what has made what effect. Okay, so am I getting better or not? The first thing that's going to show you is you're not doing enough. So that's when you have to start dividing it down a little bit further. Start digging down a little bit deeper. Why did it go from 33 to 28? Or why did it go from 33 to 38? What is it that you did differently? So try to find out why these violations are happening, and then you can take corrective action. Can I use an example?
Well, yeah, and don't forget that you're on the Trucking Risk and Insurance podcast. So you might, well, no, I'm just, you work for an insurance company.
Yes, I do.
My background's an insurance company. John used to work for an insurance company. So we've got, that in common. And right now, so many trucking companies are having insurance issues, or they don't know that they're about to have an insurance issue.
Right.
Because the insurance company relies on this type of information. It's one of the things that they're monitoring. So, go ahead, but I would really like it for the listeners to put their insurance hat on and look at it from an insurance perspective, because my God, it's important.
Well, to answer that question is, if somebody like me, in loss prevention comes in to see you, if your insurer comes in to see you, here's the question you have to be ready for. If your carrier profile score is not favorable, what are you doing about it?
Yeah.
And that's where our topic today comes into play. Okay. How do you know if it's good? What is good? What's bad? Is it improving, and why? You might not have the greatest score out there, but if you can show a person like either you gentlemen or myself that, we've recognized that, and this is what we're doing to make it better, well, that makes it easier for us to take that information and explain it to an underwriter and say, this is happening, but this is what they've found, and this is what they're doing about it. So that's why, you can't manage what you don't measure. So
what about if the score goes the other way? So say you go in to see a guy, and you've had a conversation because his scores say at 37%, and then 6 months later or a year later you go back in to see him, and now it's down to 22%. What would you be asking for at that point? Would you be asking to find out what he did, or would you just be patting him on the back for doing a good job?
Oh God, no! I'd absolutely. What did you do? Because if it's just a fluke, well, that's no help to anybody. But for a couple of reasons, that's going to let me know that this guy knows what he's talking about, and that his actions have had a positive effect. And let's not kid ourselves here. We also learn something every day. So I can, if I know somebody who's having a similar situation, I can say, well, I have another one of my customers who did this or this, and his result was this. So that information, that's we're here to share it. The safety isn't a one man or one person operation. Safety is it's for everybody. Everybody wins when we operate more safely. So if we can share that information, what it is that you did, John or Chris, what you guys did at your operation to have that positive effect, then I can share it with other customers as well.
Yeah. Well, back to that, if I don't measure it, then there's no way I can manage it. So this is a great opportunity to go, oh, my score's down. Well, what'd you do? Well, nothing. It just come down. Well, then you're still not managing it to measure it. You're just lucky, right? So, it's just a fluke, like you'd said. So, and I think, unfortunately, too many people rely on that approach. They're not digging in and going, oh, what did I do different that made this go down? Oh, it was those 2 extra guys we hired. We got rid of that other guy, and we got these 2 guys. Wow, they're doing a better job.
But why are they doing the better job? What transpired? What happened? And maybe it's your hiring process. Maybe it's your criteria that you've now set out. Like, there's so many things that could influence making a better hiring decision.
Well, and that's why the measuring is such a key point. Because as I was alluding to in the beginning, if you take something as basic as your overall violation rate, that's just the tip of the iceberg. So you start to dig into it as to what is actually happening, and that helps you determine where you have to put your monies, where you have to put your energy. Is it driver related? Is it maintenance related? Is it training related? Maybe it's operations. The example that I wanted to use is a company that I work for. When I stepped into the role, their violation rate was pushing 80%. And that's not great for Ontario. It was just shy of 80. And I never thought I'd be a numbers guy. I mean, my mom was an accountant or like a financial controller, and I thought, oh God, I'm never going to be a numbers person. I don't like math, but I didn't realize just how much fun I would have with numbers, especially when the things that you do have a positive reaction on the place that you work for. So to get back into that one particular situation, I took my CVR on my SMS and I combined those numbers together. And the more data you can have, the better off you are. So if you've got your US report, you've got your Ontario report, or you've got your National Safety Code report, join those violations together. Use one set of common numbers so it doesn't get too confusing. But don't just look at those numbers and put like brake violations. Talk about what kind of brake violation. Is it a hose thing? Is it contaminated linings? Is it a loose slack adjuster? Is it some other wear item? So divide it down as to the point where you feel comfortable. You don't want to give yourself too much work, but you also don't want garbage information, garbage in, garbage out. So in this one particular situation, because there was so much wrong with this place when I first went in, I had to figure out, what are we going to do? What are we going to target? So I took all those violations and said, I'm just going to give myself the top 3. And one of them was brake violations. It was like 150 some odd, violations. Yeah, it was a pretty big company. So out of those 150, it's, well, how many were adjustment? How many were because of brake hoses? How many were, and so on. And we found out that one of the largest issues was brake stroke. So now here's a question for you gentlemen. If I've got a brake stroke problem, am I looking at maintenance or am I looking at training?
That's a great question. Because one of the things I was going to say.
And that's exactly what I'm talking about.
On my spreadsheet that you've suggested where you put everything there, I also mark it whether I believe it to be a maintenance issue or a driver issue, because I want to handle them differently. This is one of the ones exactly that 2 check boxes go there, because I'm not sure if it's a driver issue or whether it's a maintenance issue.
Yeah.
Because in all likelihood, it's probably a combination of both. Now, is it 80-20 one way or the other? Is it 50-50? That's where you've got to do some work to figure that out, to go deeper, right? But John, just before you go ahead, let John answer that. Is that a driver issue or a maintenance issue?
No, it's a combination. There's no doubt about it. It could be either or, but I think to what you exactly said, you now come to a point where you scratch your head and go, is it this or is it that? So now you have to analyze it further. So you have to dig down to go, okay, what is causing this issue?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, go ahead, Michael.
And that's exactly what we did. We ended up, a lot of it was brake stroke. So what we ended up doing, we had some older equipment in there. So we got ourselves some brake stroke indicators. Did 2 things. One, it gave support and tools to the drivers so they could do their job easier. We trained them on what to look for. We installed the slack adjusters. And here's the funny thing. We were 2/3 of the way putting these onto our trailers when the shop foreman came upstairs and said, these things don't work. And I was a little confused by that because I'm thinking, a brake stroke indicator is a ruler. How can a ruler not work? It's that long. It's not that long or that long. It's a ruler. So we went down, I went down, the maintenance manager went down, the owner of the company went down, and sure enough, we aired up this trailer, and the brake was adjusted up properly, and we put the air to it, and it overstroked. It turns out that the S-cams and the bushings on that old trailer were so badly worn that most of the brake stroke was getting taken up with slack and free play. So there you go. It's a driver training issue because you want the drivers to identify what the problem is. But even back in the days, and I'm not going to suggest that anybody crawl under a trailer and adjust brakes, but back in the days when they did, even if this brake was adjusted all the way up, it still wasn't enough to be inside violation or to be within inside spec. Yeah. So it showed us a couple of things. So by the time we ended up taking all of this and training the drivers and putting stroke indicators on everything, including all the brokers' tractors as well, we went from 150 odd violations down to, in the last 2 years that I was with that company, none. Yeah. None. Yeah. So obvious. So that's the whole idea, is that you're cause and effect. Here we go. We know that this is our problem, so we're going to do this about it. And when you keep following your numbers and those numbers start coming down, okay, obviously what I did are correct. And I know where you're going with that, Chris. Go ahead.
Well, no, I was going to say,
least expensive way.
Look at it. I mean, it's attached to my my duffel bag. I use it so often, and yet trucking company owners won't install them.
You could buy a bag of them by the hundreds for pennies.
Michael, can you explain? You say you know where I'm going with this. What is this?
There's a lot of different ways that you can do this. You can go with a pre-manufactured process where you can attach this ruler, an indicator to the actual brake pot or to the chamber, and it's a rigid device, and as the rod comes out, it would basically be against a backdrop that's going to tell you, yeah, you're within the acceptable range, and no, you're not.
You get this little thing that's
right.
Well, it may go like
the rod
this.
comes out. Yeah.
We don't want that, but it's...
No, we don't. Or you can go right to the rod itself. And there's some that actually already have it on it, but with wear and tear, the paint or whatever can fade. You can set the rods up and just use a zip tie. You can put a zip tie at the caution, and you can put a zip tie at the overstroke. So you just measure the rod as it comes out, put the zip tie right on the rod. So if your driver's looking underneath the trailer and he sees a yellow zip tie, he's got to pay attention to that. But if he sees a red, he knows that one is overstroked and that trailer shouldn't go anywhere. Mm-hmm.
So
simple.
Yeah, I just...
Now, and that's just one type of violation, guys.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Rolf Vanderswag. I always liked that name, Rolf Vanderswag. Yeah. But it was Rolf that taught me to use zip ties. Rolf from the OTA, or Rolf from Technicon, I believe is the name of the company. I
don't know, but I met Rolf through the OTA. I was on some of his courses years and years ago.
Yeah. But no,
but a certainly easy, inexpensive, cost-effective device. Yeah. Simple little, wire tie, zip tie, whatever, to kind of bring the attention to the looker.
The most expensive part of that device is the training. Once you install it, you have to tell the drivers, drivers, this is what I've done for you to make your life a little bit easier.
Exactly. Yep.
Oh, I had a warning come up on my computer. I've got to tend to it. Hang on. I'm not going anywhere. I just have to hit remind me later. There we go. So I don't want us to get off track either with getting into that one rabbit hole of brakes. Mm-hmm. That process can be used for anything. Through my career, I've used this for speed violations. I've used it for permit violations. So you track what it is, you get your numbers, you've got historical evidence there, and you go, let's dive into this and find out why we're having this problem. Mm-hmm. Maybe you're not 100% convinced. Talk to the people that are there in the industry. Talk to, as we did the other day with the Fleet Safety Council, talk to other people that have had the same problem. How did you fix it? Mm-hmm. And once you tackle those issues, once you put a policy into effect, now you start managing your numbers, or now you start recording them. And if you're having a positive effect, then obviously what you did worked. So now when your insurance guy comes in, we saw this, and we saw this. And you go, yes, Mr. Insurance Man, but here's what we did. We put a speed policy in place, and our speed policies went from X number of, level 3 violations and X number of 2 violations and X number of level 1 violations down to only 1 level 1 violation in the last 6 months. So yes, Mr. Insurance Man, we know what we're doing, and we're managing our risk.
Exactly.
And how does that affect the report that insurance risk person submits to underwriting?
Well, it's going to be more favorable for you as a company.
And this is
That's what you want. That's what you want. And anytime you can you can turn that light bulb on. Anytime you can show your insurer that, yeah, I'm aware of that, and this is what we've done about it.
Yeah.
And this is where we're going, and this is what we're going to do, and this is where we plan to be. That's obviously beneficial to you and your premiums.
Big time.
It certainly has a positive impact on your report going in, at least for that one area.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
And
I've
of
always
course-
likened the carrier profiles to the company's report card. No different than when you go to school. You got a report card, probably midterm, and then at the end of the school year, tell you how you were performing, and you took that home to your parents. And you had a conversation as to how you were doing. And, the neat thing was, if you had an area that wasn't doing well, usually your parents were pretty quick to go, well, let's get you some help, whether you got summer school or let's help you with some homework and stuff like that. It's no different with a carrier. It's the carrier's report card. They need to pay attention to what's going on.
Yeah.
I was going to make a joke there about my school report cards. My parents were usually just overwhelmed with the task at hand. And then it kind of, I was going to say something like that, and then I remembered that the same thing happens to safety people in trucking companies. They get overwhelmed, and that's why people like Summit Risk Solutions and Safety Dawg are here, just to throw a little ad in. There is help for you. And, contrary to belief, we don't charge more than insurance companies.
No, we're quite reasonable, to be honest with you.
Hey,
Price-wise, anyway.
Yeah.
the humor's terrible, typically.
Yeah.
The jokes are bad, but they come for free.
Yeah, we don't charge for the jokes. That's a good thing.
Good thing. Yeah.
But yeah, go ahead, Mike. Just, I really think that your idea of measuring especially the things that are out of sync at the moment, at that time, and then be able to address the insurance fella or girl and say, hey, yeah, I know about that, and this is what I've done about it, and look at the improvement, or I anticipate an improvement. Just the fact that they can say, I know that you were going to bring that up, and this is what I've already done.
Well,
And
if you can
perhaps-
demonstrate that to the folks like Michael, to your insurer, to be able to say, here's what I'm working on. And Michael go, you know what, that's going to work. I've seen that work. So stick to it, make it happen. And even at that, I'm sure Michael would be able to offer some assistance to go, if you just go one step further, you're going to even do better.
I was going to say, what if you went, oh my God, this happened. I'm going to phone up my risk insurance person and look for suggestions on how to address it. Wouldn't
What a
that,
wealth of information.
Michael, would that impress you that somebody phoned up, and was that forthcoming to say, I got a problem. Do you have suggestions on how I can address it before you come?
Well, let me put it to you this way. We know that every company out there is going to have problems to varying degrees. So the ones that come forward and ask for help, those are the ones that we know are engaged. Those are the ones that we know are trying to actively find a solution for a problem that they have at that particular time. So that impresses me, and that we even offer more help in those areas when we can. And when those reports that we've all spoken of go back to an underwriter, that usually gets mentioned in there. So if we know that somebody's reaching out for help, that's being proactive.
Yeah, no, I think when I was doing your job, I thought that was huge. I can't remember anybody ever phoning me to ask for help because they were too afraid to reveal that they had a problem if they knew that they had a problem.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
Well,
I try not to be a scary guy when I'm out there. You know, let people know that, hey, I'm very approachable. Yeah. Call me anytime.
yep,
And
exactly, exactly.
just recently it did happen. And to tell you the truth, it's somebody that we don't insure. It's an account that we went to look at to do a quote visit, and this young man has actually reached out a couple of times, and
Great.
I have no problem offering up advice. It's like we said earlier, safe operations serve everybody. You know, it's your husband, wife, family members, they're all out in the road with these guys too. So you know, every time we can make an operator a little bit safer, that serves all of us.
Yep.
Yep.
Agreed.
And this
Agreed.
and what we're talking about doesn't just end with physical things that you can touch, like with your brake stroke or whatnot, or other things that you can measure. As our industry evolves and we start to look at telematics and those sorts of things,
Yep.
well,
Yep.
that benchmarking, that measuring becomes even more important. You've got so many more powerful tools to use. You're not just talking a ruler anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And I know I joke around. You don't have the magic 8-ball. You can actually take this data, and as long as you are using the same level of measurement, as long as you keep your baseline the same, or your benchmark the same, you'll know if the policies and procedures that you're putting into play, or the training program that you put in for your drivers, you'll know if it's working.
Well, and I was going to say, there are providers out there, whether it be the telematics provider or a third-party provider, that can actually provide you with that measurement, that scorecard per se. So they make it even easier for you to see what's going on, so you don't have to dig that much, and you can have the information at your fingertips and just pay attention to what's going on and do something about it.
Well, let me ask Michael, if you don't pay attention to it, who might pay attention to it? And I'm not talking about your employee.
It's not about, Chris, that's not a who might.
In the event of a crash, who's going to pay attention to it?
You got it. The regulators that you really don't want looking into your business are going to pay all kinds of attention to that, and they will make their own deductions, right or wrong. They will come to conclusions on your company that you haven't even thought of yet.
Yeah, and it's scary when they. I'm sure you've heard of Joe Fried, the prosecuting attorney who gets paid $3,000 an hour, U.S. of course. He gets paid that kind of coin because he's good at prosecuting trucking companies and taking that information and making it put the trucking company into the worst possible light.
Yeah.
With with that trucking company's data that they can possibly do.
They don't even have to dig very far. They're just going to come in and take what you've already got and find out you're not doing anything with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's unfortunate, and it's so easy to deal with. It's not rocket science, is it?
No. And one thing that I do want to point out is don't overwhelm yourself. You don't have to do everything today. So when you're looking at these certain KPIs, your key performance index, whatever it is that or indicators, don't take on too much. If you go over your CVOR and your SMS, and you join all those violations together, find out which of those items are of the most importance. There's going to be some violations on there which are, let's call them petty, and they given all kinds of time, and chances are they're not going to lead to anything severe. Dig down to find the ones that are the most urgent. What is going to hurt you the most? Be it financially, be it in the form of an incident, collision, something that's going to get you the attention of the roadside inspectors. Those types of violations, those are the ones that you should climb onto first, and do what it is that you have to do to get those down. I heard somebody tell me the other day, and I thought, what a great way to look at it. I've heard so many drivers when they see little things, and there was no fine or anything attached to it, but it was a marker light. It was out, or some sort of a light that was out. And I said, this person that I have a great deal of respect for said to me, or wrote in the article. So I guess he spoke to me indirectly. All you've done, if you ignore those types of things, when you go past this, you look, how simple is this? I mean, it's a little indicator light, might be up in the corner of the trailer. It might be daytime and it's a headlight that's out, whatever. So it's nothing that you're going to, really concern yourself with right away. But put yourself in the shoes of a roadside inspector. If he sees a truck rolling in with a light out, well, that's like a billboard. I didn't check my truck today. All you've done is indicate, you know what? The vehicle that I'm driving here, the way I'm making my living, for me and all the other people I work with, chances are there's some more significant stuff happening back here. So you better pull me in. That's what you've said. So those little things, they might not seem important, but if those numbers are up, they're going to lead to more inspections and more violations. So take care of those things.
I liked what you were saying earlier in the beginning when you talked about, get the analysis done to get an idea and hit your top 3 topics.
Hit the top 3. So you don't bury yourself.
Easiest place to start. Yeah, exactly.
You don't bury yourself. Especially if you're looking at a fleet, like I've been at the helm of a fleet of 500 and I've been at the helm of a fleet of 50, 60. And I go back over 2, 3, 4, even 5 years of data if I can and combine those numbers, because what you're looking for is consistency. So this is consistently our biggest problem, and find out why that's happening and get it fixed. And next year, if you're successful, that number has dropped off the radar, and now you've got something else to worry about. So if you just pick 2 or 3 things, like I had, if we look at most people's CVUR, John, what is it, Chris? It's brakes, tires, lights, right?
Exactly.
So you know when somebody's already taken action on these, because that's not one of their top 3.
Yeah, and interesting enough, compliments of ELDs, we've seen the hours of service violations plummet.
Yeah.
Yep.
And now when you see them, it's silly stuff like they didn't have the backup paper logs, or they didn't have instruction sheets, or they didn't know where to find the instruction sheets. That sort of stuff. Like,
Exactly.
But the nice thing about that is it can be fixed so easy, right? You get everybody an empty logbook for Christmas, and you put it in their little trucker stocking along with a manual on how to work your ELD, and say, here, put this in your glove box and don't forget it's there. Or hang this on your shifter.
If only we could train them how to use an Etch-a-Sketch.
Yeah.
The
Michael?
only problem with an Etch-a-Sketch is every time there's an earthquake, I got to start over.
Yep. It's time to wrap this up. Michael.
Already?
Already.
Man.
Another 30 minutes have gone by. Holy crap, just moving.
We're already at 33 and a half.
Jeez.
Oh, just cut the introduction off. Yeah, everybody knows who I am.
We'll
don't
just have
need
to
to
have
know
you
where-
back again.
We don't need to know where Derry's from.
No, they know.
Everybody knows Michael Derry.
That's right. Worldwide.
It can be a bad thing. It can be a bad thing.
Yeah.
Just ask the Book of Sean. It can be a bad thing.
Yes, exactly. Well, and he's just as good as fried chicken.
Huh?
Finger licking good.
Oh, Jesus. Don't go there.
Okay, Michael. Last word.
I hope you stopped recording before that got out.
You got to measure it. Is that?
Got to measure. Yeah. Keep track of what it is that you're doing. Find out if you don't measure, you can't manage. You can't manage what you don't measure.
Measure. Yep.
Beautiful. Thanks again, Michael. Appreciate your time.
No
Mr.
problem, gents.
John.
Yes. Well, you know what? Another great guest. Thanks again, Michael, for coming on. This was awesome. So I just want to let our listeners know, hey, I'm sure you found value in this podcast today. So make sure you subscribe hit that little dingy bell, and don't forget to like. And if you don't like this, well, I'm sorry to hear that, but feel free to hit the dislike button twice.